What is going on, everybody? Good morning. 7:59 on the dot. Listen. Sometimes if you're not here by 8 a.m., I might go at 7:59. I don't know. You know what I mean? It just kind of depends sometimes. It depends how I'm feeling. It depends if I'm ready to go. It depends if I got my ish in order and I got my stuff together. So ready to go this morning. I appreciate you guys hanging out. Thank you for being a part of the show. Tuesday, October 15th. We got a lot to get into. What a good time in sports. There's just a lot of good stuff to go going on in sports. Grab your cup of Joe, grab your cup of coffee. 3 shots this morning. That's probably a lot. I don't know if it's a lot, to be honest with you. I actually don't think it's a lot. 3 shots of espresso, is that a lot? Yeah, I'm getting up at about 5:30, getting ready for this show. Still got a lot of stuff I do after the show. I don't think 3 shots is the end of the world. Okay, you guys can see as far as some of our topics go. Actually, no, you cannot see, because I'm going to have to do this on the fly here. I'm going to have to do this on the fly here. Okay, so we got a lot of stuff to get into. Obviously, the Dodgers and the Mets. You had game 2 yesterday. The Mets tied the series at 1 apiece. I want to spend some time talking about, were the Dodgers not aggressive enough? Should they have been a little bit more aggressive yesterday as far as what relievers to use? You're going with a rookie in Landon Knack. Is that a bad idea? It turns out it was a bad idea. But we'll spend a little bit of time on that. I don't think if you're a Dodger fan, you got too much to worry about, to be honest with you. I don't think the world's going to end. And I know in today's world, we just kind of look at certain things and we say to ourselves, all right, well, things aren't going as planned. Dodgers just lost a game. I'm not a Dodger fan, so I want to make sure that it doesn't matter to me. But I will tell Dodger fans why they should calm down and relax if they got any concerns or worries, because I don't really think it's that big of a deal that they lost that game. I mentioned yesterday that I want to talk about the Lakers, and I want to spend some time. They got a preseason game coming up a little bit later today. Lakers and the Warriors are going to play each other. I'm curious about both of these franchises. Which franchise is going to be more desperate? Which franchise is going to go out of their way to go try to make a deal? Which franchise would you have more faith in right now? And I do think there's pressure on both franchises. The Warriors trying to make sure Steph's happy, and the Lakers trying to make Laker fans happy, to be honest with you. It doesn't really matter who's playing for that franchise. There's always an expectation. I want to spend some time on that. Some injuries around the NBA. Sucks. Lonzo coming back. Lonzo Ball, I want to spend a little time. He has been over 2 years. He's been out. There's some stuff on Clayton Kershaw wanting to come back next year. Shohei Ohtani has some ridiculous, stupid stats I want to throw your guys away, so we got a lot to get into. If this is the first time that you've been on the channel, or maybe you've been wondering, where the hell did Sliwa go? You were listening to me on 710 ESPN for a while. This is my spot right now. This is where I am. I'm going to be here Monday through Friday starting at 8 a.m. Independent Slee is what I'm calling it. No 401k Slee, however you want to look at it. But this is where I'm going to be. This is the 11th episode that I've done. And I got to be honest with you, I love doing this. I really do. I kind of love this independent space. Is it tough? Is it a crazy business to try to figure out on the fly? Absolutely it is. Did that security that I used to have go away? Absolutely it did, but that's all right. That comes risk. Reward comes with risk, and we're going to make it happen and roll up our sleeves every morning. All right, Dodgers lose 7-3. You got comments, put them in there, and I'll try to get to the comments as we go. Any super chats you get on there, I'll 100% get into. Dodgers lose 7-3 to the New York Mets. So they had a streak. 33 scoreless innings for the Dodgers. Since game 3 against the San Diego Padres, after Tatis hits a 2-run homer off Walker Buehler, the Dodgers didn't give up any runs from the 3rd inning on. They didn't give up any runs in game 4. They didn't give up any runs in game 5. And oh, by the way, they played the Mets in game 1 of the NLCS, and they didn't give up a run there as well. So they went 33 straight innings without giving up a run. Yesterday, that tied the record. If you guys remember, I was doing the show yesterday, and I was mentioning it was a 1 o'clock first pitch that all they got to do is really get out of the first inning, and they'll pass the Baltimore Orioles for the longest streak of consecutive scoreless innings in Major League playoff history. All right, Francisco Lindor was the first batter. That streak stopped at 33 because Ryan Brazier gave up a solo shot to Francisco Lindor, and the 33-inning streak was done. So the Mets struck first. You kind of got that out of the way. All right, the inning, how many innings is it going to go? Now, if you're a Dodger fan out there, you're more just concerned about just go try to get a win at Dodger Stadium and go up 2-0. Just didn't happen yesterday for the Dodgers. Nothing really went the Dodgers' way yesterday. And the game was actually, it could have been close. It could have been competitive. They didn't really get any clutch hits. They gave up Landon Knack, the rookie, in 2 innings, gave up 5 earned runs, 5 hits, walked 3 guys. So he was awful. Literally, the definition of awful is what Landon Knack did yesterday for the Dodgers. Just wasn't their day. And that's the best way that I can put it. And it happens. It's not, it's not the end of the world. I do think that they had won 3 games in a row. They had, won the 2 must wins against the Padres. They came out against the Mets in game 1 and dismantled them, gave them no shot, no hope. So the Dodgers losing a game after winning 3 in a row, 2 of those games being must wins, and then starting the series with a win against the Mets. I don't think the world's going to end for the Dodgers, but that's part of baseball. Mets did exactly what they were hoping for. They're just asking for, can we just get a split and go back to New York? Series tied 1 apiece. The answer is yes. But nothing really went the Dodgers' way yesterday. And that happens in the game of baseball. We know that. Manaea for the Mets. By the way, used to be a San Diego Padre. I don't know what the hell the Mets did to him. I guess his delivery is completely different, but he was phenomenal. He's been phenomenal so far in the playoffs, but he really, really had the Dodgers guessing for at least the 5 innings that he was in. You know what's crazy with the Mets? They walked, I think it was 8 or 9 guys, and they still only gave up 3 runs. If that trend continues, and I guess just listening to the broadcast yesterday, that is a problem that the Mets always have. If that trend continues, the Dodgers will be just fine in this series. You obviously clearly in the playoffs or in the regular season, you can't walk that many guys and think you're only going to give up 3 runs. So I think Mets got a little lucky from that front. But this is kind of the question that I would ask Dodger fans as I sit here and say that this is kind of how the game played out. Landon Knack, I mentioned, rookie struggled, gives up the 5 earned runs. You didn't really end up using any high leverage guys yesterday. Only question that I would have, and I was listening to a couple different broadcasts on the Dodgers and the Mets, some breakdowns after the game, the whole thing. Was Dave Roberts just not aggressive enough with his bullpen? You knew that it was going to be a bullpen day. So the question was going to be, when are you going to start using your real guys? And I'm talking about Kopech and Blake Trinan and, Evan Phillips. Go down the list of some of these other players. Now, kind of interestingly enough, Vezina is not available for the series. Hudson, I have no idea why they used in game 1 in an absolute blowout, and then did not have the ability to use him in game 2. Now, a couple other guys they use. Banda's a guy that they've gone to before, and they went to him again yesterday. But the game was already decided. I mean, once you brought in, and I know you got to pitch 9 innings, so at some point, Landon Knack's going to get an opportunity. But the only question that I think people are asking is why Dave Roberts, from a strategy perspective, why was he not more urgent with which leverage guys that he brought in? The only argument I would make about yesterday's game, and again, I have a whole portion here of why Dodger fans should not be concerned after yesterday's loss. I'll get into that. But the only question that I would have about Dave Roberts in yesterday's game is, do you want Landon Knack in kind of a high-pressure situation early in the game? You have not had any run support yet, where there's a lot of eyes on him. You actually are coming into the game already down 1-0. Do you want him in that situation, or do you want him a little bit later in the game, assuming and thinking that your offense got going and maybe you put up a few runs on the board? Maybe he's working with a couple runs as far as a lead goes. That's the only real criticism that I felt like I saw from Dodger fans or people that were looking at that game yesterday is you can't rely on a Landon Knack that early in a game and he proved yesterday that you can't really rely on him. The two innings. And listen, I'm sure the moment is huge for him. I'm sure he's a rookie. I mean, he's walking into a game that's the NLCS, and it's you're trying to hold serve with home field advantage, going up against a New York Mets team that I know looked awful in Game 1. The Mets have been pretty amazing these last couple of months. I forget what part of the year, was it either June or July, they had the best record in Major League Baseball. There was a time they were 10, 11 games out of the divisional race. They were struggling. They were awful. And then obviously they've put together what they have. But the Mets team, this is kind of their DNA. You can't really count them out. They found a way, even on the last day of the regular season, punching their ticket in when they had that doubleheader against the Atlanta Braves. This is how the Mets have built their culture this year. Mets, listen, they have still one of the highest payrolls in baseball. I think it's the highest payroll in baseball. Obviously, they have an owner in Steve Cohen. They're trying to win. It's not like the Mets are this unbelievable story because they're a small market team that came out of nowhere. But they hit their stride a little bit later on. I don't know how much people were expecting for the Mets to be in the position that they're in, but here they are. They are here, and there has to be a reason why they're here. They're a pretty damn good baseball team. Do you want to give the ball to Landon Knack in that situation? And I guess that's the only question that I would say that most people had with Dave Roberts is this the position and situation you want to put your youngster in or your rookie in, even though you're going to eventually have to use him? I really didn't have a problem with it. I did feel like, I think with the Dodgers and Dodger fans, you've just gone through and played literally 3 perfect games that whenever a hiccup does come, it's going to look bad, but that's just part of baseball, and that's just part of sports. I mean, they literally played 3 perfect games in a row. I can't look at one thing that the Dodgers did wrong in the 3 games that they did leading up to this. They won a game 8-0 on the road, 2-0 in a game 5, and 9-0 at home to start another round. They played perfect baseball. What is that averaging? Take the 17, the 19. They're probably averaging 6 runs a game over those 3 games. They didn't give up a run. The 33 scoreless innings, like we talked about, they played perfect baseball for 3 straight games, and then they finally ran into a game where they struggled. And I'll point out what those struggles were. And there's a good chance that the struggles that they had in game 2 probably don't occur again in game 3, just by strictly by the odds and strictly by just the numbers of when you look at the Dodgers and some of the players that were struggling and runners in scoring position and the entire thing. All right, let me look at a couple of these comments here, and then we'll keep going. Yeah, I'm with you, Joe. I wish Dave put Knack in game 5. Do you actually remember there was a second there where it looked like Knack was going to get the start in game 4. They were going to go Buehler, then they were going to go Buehler, and then they were going to go Knack in game 4, and then they decided to go the bullpen game. So Joe, 100% with you on that one. That I wish Knack was the same exact or in the same situation where I'm sure Padre fans wish Knack had more of an opportunity in that other series. Raider Rubin, good morning, my people. Good morning to you as well. I hear some people should have started Buehler. Buehler's going to start in game 3. By the way, I'm still not 100% sure how most people feel like about Buehler still. I'm not sure if people are highly confident. I was listening to some stuff yesterday, and it sounded like to me they went from not having any confidence at all when it came to Walker Buehler to, I think, now almost overly confident about Walker Buehler. I'm not sure about that. I mean, I wouldn't look at it that way. Dodgers pitching now have 0 consecutive scoreless innings. That part's correct. That part is true. If you carry the 1, you look at how many innings, you're right about that. All right, everybody in here saying some good mornings. Good morning to everybody here. Hopefully everybody drinking a nice cup of coffee. All right, let me give everybody just kind of a quick idea. Here's one perfect example. A lot of people very confident right now in Walker Buehler. Let me talk real quick on Walker Buehler, and then we'll go back. as an outsider, because I'm an outsider, I'm not a Dodger fan, but I feel like I could give my honest opinion and be critical about what I think of the Dodgers. As an outsider, I would tell you that I still don't know what Walker Buehler is going to give up. I'd be more surprised. So game 3 is coming up tomorrow. Dodgers and the Mets. It's going to be at Citi Field. I think it's Citi Field there. I'm going to actually look at the schedule here. Do they go Wednesday, Thursday, Friday? Is that how this is? Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Damn. Everyone's getting used. Everyone's getting used. You know, your bullpen guys, certainly your relievers. Starting wise, I know they've announced Buehler Yamamoto is going to go game 3 and 4. Here's what I'd say about Buehler. If I threw out the question, which one are you more surprised by? Buehler giving up 5 runs in 4 innings or Buehler giving up 2 runs in 5 innings? I don't know where most Dodger fans are on Buehler. Does he have the capability to pitch a good game and have a strong performance and kind of lean on what he's done in the past when it comes to his history with the Dodgers and pitching in big games and everything else? But he had 2 Tommy Johns. Clearly, he's not the same pitcher. I'm more surprised if he's throwing 5 innings and only given up 2 runs. I'm less surprised if he's going 4 innings and he gave up 5 runs. The last pitching performance he had was game 3 against the Padres, and that wasn't all on him. It might say 5 earned runs, 6 earned runs, whatever it's going to say that he gave up on that day, but it wasn't all him. Rojas had a bad defensive play, trying to get a double play and got no outs. Then Peralta hit the ball down the line. You got the Manny Machado play where Freddie Freeman, Machado runs kind of outside his path, but legally he could do it. Freddie Freeman hits him on his helmet. The ball ricochets. Buehler had a bad outing in that second inning against the Padres, but it wasn't just on him. I don't think he got any help from his defense. So I think that's something to keep in mind. He had no help at all from his defense. But I don't personally understand that much confidence in Buehler unless you're looking at Buehler from the past. But who knows what he can do tomorrow? I would just say if he went out and only gave up a couple runs and went 5 innings, I'd be more surprised with that. I'd be less surprised if he got hit up for 4 or 5 runs in whatever amount of innings. Dodgers pitching is their weakness, point blank. Let's just be honest. Pitching's been pretty damn amazing up to this point. It really, really has been incredible over the last, really, I mean, throughout the postseason so far, they've been good. I know it's not a huge sample size. What is it, 6 games up to now? I know Yamamoto had a bad first start, but he was great after that. I know Jack Flaherty had a bad start, but then he was great after that. So I guess it just depends. Okay, let me kind of mention why I wouldn't be too concerned if I'm a Dodger fan of what happened yesterday. Throw a couple stats your guys' way. They got some Lakers stuff I want to get into. All right. Bad games are going to come, and Dodgers just had a bad game yesterday. This is why the Dodgers are going to be fine, I think, the rest of this series. First off, I just think they have more talent than the Mets. That doesn't guarantee you anything. It is a 7-game set, and that place is going to be rocking in New York. However, talent obviously is important. The Dodgers are going to run into something. Whatever happens in New York, it's not going to be a surprise or a shock. They've seen it. Dodgers have been through this how many different times? Look at all the different players that are part of this organization, part of that organization that kind of been there, done that. I'll give you some examples. Do you think Freddie Freeman or Mookie Betts or Will Smith or Max Muncy, they're going to be shocked or surprised by the environment, the atmosphere in New York? No, probably not. They've been in this for a long time. You think Blake Treinen's going to be shook by what's happening there? Or and Walker Buehler is actually, I guess you could say, a good example as well. But Walker Buehler, it's going to be more about his stuff than it's going to be the environment. Dave Roberts has been in this situation before. The Dodgers, this is what they do. They're in the playoffs every single year. So whatever you throw at them, they're going to be accustomed to. Yesterday's game, look how many things had to go against the Dodgers in order for the Mets to get that win. You got Landon Knack early on gives up the 5 earned runs. Brazier, as I mentioned, gave up the solo home run in the first inning. You're down 6-0 before you even get to the third inning, so now you're fighting back the entire way. The first 5 guys for the Dodgers and the first 5 players, it's Shohei Ohtani, it's Mookie Betts, it's Freddie Freeman, it's Teoscar Hernandez, and it's Will Smith. It was Teoscar that actually batted third. They combined 0 for 19 in yesterday's game. So I'll say it again. Shohei, Mookie, Teoscar, Freddie, and Will Smith went 0 for 19 yesterday. Those were your, obviously your key bats did nothing yesterday. Absolutely nothing. How often is that going to happen? Not very often. Edman was actually the only one that had a good game for the Dodgers yesterday. He went 3 for 4. But everybody else, for the most part, I know Muncy had a hit, or Muncy had a solo shot. Paez had a hit as well. They only had 5 hits yesterday. The heart of your order did nothing. Well, how many times are you going to depend on Shohei, Mookie, Teoscar, and Freddie? I'll just stop at those 4. Will Smith not as consistent as the other guys. How often is that going to happen where those players have that poor of a performance? Not that often. That's not going to happen very often. All right, how about Dodgers with runners in scoring position? They were 1 for 9 yesterday with runners in scoring position, 11 Ks. Kike actually was the one who, yes, was kind of the hero for a couple of days for the Dodgers. Kike came up with a lot of traffic and did nothing for the Dodgers. One of his at-bats grounded into a double play, kind of a big double play at a big situation. Bang, bang at second and first, but after they review it, both runners were out, including Kike. 1 for 9 with runners in scoring position. Bets or none of the bats came through, at least in the heart of your order: Shohei, Mookie, Teoscar, Freddie, and Will Smith. I just don't know how often that's going to happen for the Dodgers. It's not going to happen very often. You're coming off 3 straight wins, 33 scoreless innings, and you had one pitcher, a rookie, give up 5 runs. They'll be fine. That's my observation, right? I think everybody's going to have a different opinion, but my observation is I think the Dodgers just had a bad game yesterday. I don't think it's something that would be overly concerning if you are a Dodger fan. Now, this is all. If I put it this way, this does happen in baseball, and it can snowball. Like I think in baseball, if Dodgers lose again tomorrow and the bats are quiet and Walker Buehler gave up 4 or 5 runs, and now you're down 2-1 with a critical game 4 coming up at Citi Field, then okay, maybe it starts to be a different conversation. That's the one thing in baseball is everything can look great like it did for Dodgers in 3 straight games, and then overnight it could all kind of collapse. But there's a reason why the Dodgers lost that game yesterday, and there are a lot of ways for the Dodgers not to run into that again, and I don't think they're probably going to have that same issue. Yes, it probably happens again, but I would have a difficult time thinking that the Dodgers are going to have this just major trouble with the New York Mets the rest of the way because of what happened yesterday. So I don't really take too much of what happened yesterday. The only thing that if you do want to take away is, did Dave Roberts use the wrong relievers at the wrong time? Should he have used Landon Knack a little bit later? However you want to, kind of point that out, I guess you can say. I don't think it was that big of a deal, and I think the Dodgers will be fine. All right, let me read a couple of your guys' comments here. Then I got some Shohei Ohtani stats. I don't understand what the hell this guy is. All right, let me look at a couple of your comments here. Ohtani, Mookie, and Freddie have to hit. Dodgers don't play well this year in day games. Still don't understand why there's a 1 o'clock first pitch out here on the West Coast on a Monday. Who the hell could watch at 1 o'clock on a Monday? I mean, I could watch. I have my reasons why I can watch. Yeah, but I mean, Craig, I'm going to go back to what you just said here. Ohtani, Mookie, and Freddie have to hit. Yeah, they're going to hit. And if all 3 of those guys aren't hitting, 2 of them might be hitting. And if you have an occasional game where 2 of them might not be hitting, okay, Mookie's the one that goes 3 for 4 or 3 for 5 or something along those lines. It's Ohtani, Mookie, and Freddie. Those guys are going to hit. And it's very, very rare that all 3 of them don't hit. All right, let's see what we got here. A couple more comments here, and I want to get a little bit into some of these Ohtani stats. It's actually a really weird Ohtani stat. I can't fully understand what this Ohtani stat means, and I'll get into it in just a second. All right, let me see a couple more here. We need to get length from starters, starting with Buehler. First off, don't say we. You need to. I don't need to. You see, my team started their offseason a little bit early. My team decided to call it a day after October 12th. Okay? So there's no we here. You want to talk Lakers? We'll go we. You want to talk Dodgers? Take the we out. All right, let me get a couple more here. Dodgers were 2 hits away from tying the game yesterday. Very, very rare the top 5 hitters will go hitless again. I agree with you, Alex. He's just too good. It's too good of a lot. And by the way, throw Teoscar in there as well. Teoscar's a threat. I know he's not Freddie. I know he's not Mookie. I know he's not Shohei. Every team in Major League Baseball wish they had Teoscar, right? Like everybody wants. What'd they pay for him? $20 million a year, something along those lines. That's certainly the case. Well, that's not cool, bro. Manny Tatis and Profar in Cancun. Hey, listen, you keep that shit up, you might be joining us. Okay? Keep that attitude up, you might be joining us. We're going to do the all-inclusive. Right now, we're at an all-inclusive. Breakfast is included. You want lunch? Lunch is included. You want to go grab a couple margaritas at the pool? Come on and hang out. We're already out there. Son of a... Not cool, bro. Was not expecting that on this Tuesday morning. I really, really thought we were just going to all be professional here on this Tuesday morning. And you got these a-holes like this coming at me. Blocked. People know how this works. They're blocked. Okay, quick Ohtani stat, and I got to get into some Lakers stuff. If you got more Dodger stuff, just go ahead and throw it in, and then I'll make sure to get to some of those topics. We'll kind of circle back around to the Dodgers. But long story short on the Dodgers, they lose yesterday. I would not be too concerned if I'm a Dodgers fan. How they lost that game probably does not repeat in the series. They had the things they needed to go wrong, give the Mets credit, but they were still even in that game. Still a lot of traffic, and that's without the first top 5 guys doing anything. Here's a crazy Ohtani stat. Do you guys know, I can't really fully understand what this stat is and what it really means. With nobody on base, Shohei Ohtani is 0 for 19 this postseason. When there is nobody on base, Shohei Ohtani is 0 for 19 at the plate. Listen, I think there's a simple way to put this. Make sure that if you're the Mets, make sure nobody's on when Ohtani gets to the plate. It's actually one of the reasons I thought game 1 was a perfect example when the Padres and the Dodgers were playing each other at Dodger Stadium when I was there. And then after the Padres lost that game, I asked for a refund. But a lot of the bottom of the order was getting on, whether it was Gavin Lux, whether it was Will Smith, whether it was Edmund. There was Miguel Rojas had gone on as well. When Shohei has guys on, so he's 0 for 19 when nobody's on base. With runners in scoring position, Shohei Ohtani in his last 19 at-bats with runners in scoring position, he's 16 for 19. What the hell is that stat? Nobody on 0 for 19. Runners in scoring position, he's 16 for 19. I remember this during the Padres series where this stat had come up, and I think at the time he was like, 13 for 15 or 13 for 16. I forget what the stat was. By the way, this dates back to the regular season. In the playoffs, he's 6 of 8 with runners in scoring position, which is still absolutely absurd. But I remember when this was going on during the Padres series, I was like, what do you mean he's 13 for 15? Fox, this stat is not correct. No, he was 13 for 15 at that time. 16 for 19. Tell me he's 5 for 7. Tell me he's 4 for 8. Tell me he's 4 for 10, and he's 400 in that position with runners in scoring position. He's 16 for 19 with runners in scoring position. I don't know what the hell that means. I really don't know what to do with that. I think the key, obviously, for the Mets, make sure nobody's on because he's 0 for 19 when nobody's on base. 16 for 19 with runners in scoring position. That is one of the most absurd stats that I've ever seen. Okay. Let's do a little Lakers here real quick. I want to kind of switch gears here, switch topics for a quick second here, and talk a little bit about the Lakers and talk a little bit about the Warriors. And then I'll circle back around to the Dodgers because I know there's some people that also wanted to talk about Clayton Kershaw announcing that he's going to be coming back. I don't really think that's news. I don't. I just think that's where Clayton Kershaw is in his career, but I'll do that towards the end. Okay. Lakers got a preseason game coming up later tonight. So it's game 4 of the preseason. Thankfully, we're almost done with the preseason. I don't know how you guys feel about preseason, but not exactly the most exciting product to watch simply because there's nothing to play for and, nobody really cares. The good news is for Laker fans out there, definitely for myself included, a week from today, the Lakers will start the regular season. They're going to take on the Minnesota Timberwolves. That game will be at Crypto.com Arena, and we'll be ready. And it's going to be Minnesota, Phoenix, Sacramento, Phoenix again on the road, Cleveland on the road for your first 5 games. They'll kind of have an interesting start. And I think for all Laker fans out there, everyone's curious, hey, how will the Lakers start the season? I mean, if you go look at the last couple of years, they've dug themselves a hole. I got no idea what this Lakers team is going to be. I really don't. I want to be confident about it. I want to be optimistic about it, but they have no margin for error when it comes to injuries. They have no margin for error when it comes, obviously, to their 2 stars. They got to be there. I think every team is in a similar position. They got a head coach that's never coached before, so I have no idea what's going to happen there. I think it's fair to say they have a front office that's going to be – they're going to need to be aggressive in how they improve the roster and how they figure out how to help this team with needs that they have, and they're not going to find out for a couple of months of what that looks like. So next week, a week from today, we'll get started. Lakers will start the season against the Minnesota Timberwolves. Timberwolves look completely different. But the rest of this week still has 3 preseason games for the Lakers. Lakers got the Warriors coming up. I was talking to Sammy yesterday. Sammy's putting up those preview videos. Hopefully you guys are enjoying that. If you got any suggestions on that, throw it in the videos. But he's always going to preview the upcoming game for the Lakers. That's up on the channel right now if you want to watch it. So Sammy and I were talking yesterday, and we're kind of helping him prep for his preview video. And we're talking about the Lakers and the Warriors. And I don't know if pressure is the right way to describe it, because I think both teams always have pressure. I don't think that's an issue. I think both teams, the Golden State Warriors 15 years ago were not a franchise that had pressure. But they've built a dynasty, and that dynasty is in the process of changing. And I think it's probably more likely than not that their best days are behind them. But with Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, Steph Curry, Steve Kerr, Bob Myers, they won 4 NBA championships in a span about 10, 11 years, whatever it was. Maybe it was 9 years. Can't remember off the top of my head. Golden State Warriors, I don't care what you think about that franchise. They delivered, and they delivered big time. And they were able to do it. They did it early. Obviously, they did it with KD as well. And then they go out, make a trade, and it's Andrew Wiggins, and it was like a completely different team, and they do it again against the Boston Celtics a couple years ago. Impressive what the Golden State Warriors have done. I don't like using the word pressure, but I guess the question is going to be, which of these 2 franchises will be more aggressive? Because I look at this Lakers team right now, and clearly the last couple of years, the Lakers have not been in a position where you really feel like, hey, they're going to go win an NBA championship, or they're the favorites to win an NBA championship. Don't get me wrong. I know they made the Western Conference Finals. Everybody knows that. Everybody understands that. Give them credit for getting there. I know a lot of times people kind of make the case, well, look who they were playing, or look how they got there, or Ja Morant wasn't 100% healthy, or you knew they were going to beat this Golden State Warriors team anyways. However you want to kind of describe whatever that process was like, you still got to give credit where credit's due. And I think credit is deserved to the Lakers when they made it to the Western Conference Finals. But the reality for the Lakers, and I think the question mark for the Lakers is going to be, how far behind are those days? And are you ever going to be able to look at a year like this upcoming year and say to yourselves, hey, they still got a shot to do it again. Hey, they still have a chance to get back to the Western Conference Finals. And I think right now it's safe to say Lakers are not one of the top 2 or 3 teams in the Western Conference. How aggressive are the Lakers going to be come trade deadline. Because I'll tell you what Rob Pelinka has said over the last few years. And if I'm looking at, will the Golden State Warriors be more aggressive or will the Lakers be more aggressive? I would imagine that that's probably going to be the Golden State Warriors. And let me give you kind of some of my reasons for it. Let's take the last couple of years. Let's look at what the Lakers have done over these last couple of years. And all I've heard from Rob Pelinka is, hey, we got these 3 first-round draft picks. We're going to be aggressive. If there's a right deal out there, we're going to go out there and make it. Okay? Lakers don't make any moves at the trade deadline. Then we get to the summer, still no moves. They draft Dalton Connect. So there's one of your first-rounders. So now you got 2 first-rounders left. And then I remember this was probably within the last couple of weeks. Rob Pelinka and JJ Redick had a presser. They're kind of addressing the season before the season starts. And again, Rob Pelinka says, hey, if there's a move to be had and it makes sense, then yes, we'll use those 2 first-rounders. Nothing's come to fruition. And if people want to sit back and say, yeah, but Al, you know what? Nobody wants to make a move with the Lakers. All right, that's the price of doing business then if you're the president of basketball operations for the Lakers. I heard one team very, very active in the offseason, even though they didn't make a move. And this is what I mean by, if you're looking at the Golden State Warriors and you're looking at the Los Angeles Lakers, which of these 2 teams do you have maybe more faith in their front offices to go make the right move? I don't know what Mike Dunleavy is going to do for the Golden State Warriors. I have no idea. It was Bob Myers that was kind of behind a lot of those deals in the past. But the Golden State Warriors were every single day, if you were watching from before July 1st through free agency, they were targeting Lauri Markkanen. And they were trying to find a way, how can they get Lauri Markkanen? And they're not going to get him anymore because he signed an extension with the Utah Jazz. So I don't even think he'd be traded this year. I don't think he could be traded. So he's not going anywhere. But it was the concept and the idea of, damn, the Warriors are going big game hunting again. I'm not telling you that Andrew Wiggins was big game hunting, but Andrew Wiggins, they found a way to get him when the KD deal was going down, and they eventually won another NBA championship. They've kind of always been in the mix here over these last 10 years or so, and I do think they have pressure to make sure Steph Curry is happy. I don't know what the pressure is that the Lakers have with their stars. I don't think Anthony Davis is going anywhere. I just don't. I feel like Anthony Davis is not I don't even know if it's in his personality to threaten the Lakers that, hey, unless you do something, I'm out of here. Or maybe he's happy with the roster, or maybe he's happy to be playing with LeBron and wants to give it another shot, and let's just kind of see where the Lakers are. And he would be a lot louder, or the conversation would be a lot different potentially if and when LeBron's not here. Maybe Anthony Davis makes more noise if he doesn't feel like he's got a shot at winning anything. I think LeBron is content. Is that the right way to put it? All I've seen all offseason, and so far, anytime I type in anything with the Lakers, it's about LeBron playing with Bronny. It's not about the Lakers competing in the Western Conference. It's not about the Lakers targeting this specific player and what if they make this trade or that trade. Everything that I've read and every storyline that's come out, and listen, I'm not trying to criticize all these stories that are out there, but I'm still looking for stories that are talking about the Lakers actually competing for an NBA championship. I'm still looking for stories out there that the Lakers are this player away from potentially competing with Minnesota and Denver and Dallas and some of these other teams in the upper echelon of the Western Conference. I haven't seen that. Where I do think with the Warriors, there was so much chatter in the offseason about improving their roster, why they didn't re-sign Klay Thompson, what trade targets that they can use, what players they would trade to give up for this guy, that guy, or whatever the case is. And I haven't really seen that with the Lakers. I haven't. So am I going to be watching Lakers and the Warriors tonight? Of course I am. I'm going to be watching that preseason game, and I'll do a quick little post-game show after, and I'll do it on the channel. But I'm looking at 2 franchises that have kind of been irrelevant for the last couple of years. When I say irrelevant, what I mean is they're always hovering between 6 and 10. They're not even a lock to make the playoffs. They're trying to make the playoffs towards the end of the season. They run out of gas by the time the playoffs start, and then it's like, all right, let's see how far these 2 teams go. I don't want to see that with the Lakers. I don't think any Laker fan wants to see that. But I feel like at this point, the Golden State Warriors are being held a little bit more to the fire because of Steph Curry. I think Steph Curry's there through 2026, 2027. But Steph has said, yeah, I want to retire a Golden State Warrior, but I don't want to just be here just to be here. He wants to compete. He wants to try to win championships. He wants to add to his legacy. And whatever it is, the legacy is that this Golden State Warriors franchise has had over the last 10 years. With the Lakers, the most disappointing thing would be that, I played this clip, I think it was last week, where it was Shams with Greeny talking about how it looks like LeBron and Bronny on October 22nd, they could be playing together. I'm like, is this it? Is this all we're going to be talking about? Is this literally going to be our conversation? I don't think it will be, but it's taken and it's dominated so much of the conversation. I hope Bronny and LeBron play on October 22nd together so we could just get it over with. I hope those two are playing together so that that's not the conversation moving forward. What I want the conversation to be about with the Lakers is, hey, they're targeting this player. Hey, this guy is not good enough. Hey, look how great this player is in this combination of these five guys. Hey, the Lakers are right in the heart. They're 4 or 5 in the Western Conference by the time we get to January 1st. Hey, the trade deadline is coming up. What are the Lakers going to do with this player or they're going to do with that player? That's what I'm hoping for. And if it's not that, I mean, frankly, I'm not really 100% sure. I'm not 100% sure really what's going to be the intrigue of the Lakers this year. Because if it's just about LeBron and Bronny, I don't know about that one. Lakers only chips matter. Izzy, appreciate the comment. You're right about that. Only chips matter, but I think, when I take comments like that and I look at it, it's got to be realistic too. I don't think right now, as the Lakers are constructed, they're going to be in the Western Conference Finals. I think right now the league is getting younger. I think the league is getting faster. I think the league's got snipers and three-point shooters all over the place. And I don't know if those really fit much of the Lakers' characteristics. They're going to have to make moves. I don't think this roster as is going to be a roster that most people are going to look at and say, watch out for the Los Angeles Lakers. At least I don't think so. I don't think that's going to be the case. All right, let me see a couple more here. As long as Buss and Pelinka are part of this team, there isn't all that much confidence. I think this is a critical year for Rob Pelinka. Critical year. Said this before. I'll say it again. I really think it's a critical year for the Lakers. By the way, I see some comments here. Al, don't be so negative about the Lakers. I don't think it's being negative. I think it's being realistic. If you can make a case, and you want to make a case in the chats, that I'm wrong on my assessment, but what makes you think that this Lakers team won't be kind of similar to what they've been the last couple of years, which is in that 6 through 10 range? Listen, they find a way to end the season really strong. Last year, they ended the season 18-6. If you want to point the finger at Darvin Ham, and JJ Redick's going to kind of he's going to flip the script on this, make the case. And I hope you're right. But I also think teams are only getting better in the Western. Memphis is going to be better because Ja Morant is back. They'll be better this year, a lot better. Dallas is coming off making it to the NBA Finals. Minnesota, however you think about the Karl Anthony Towns trade or not, they got Dante DiVincenzo. They got Julius Randle on top of all the other talent that they have on that team. Denver is still the Denver Nuggets. They're not the same team without KCP. A lot of good teams in the West. Houston will be better. San Antonio will be better. Golden State will try to be aggressive. The Pelicans got DeJounte Murray. And I know I'm missing some teams, off the top of my head. They're going to be teams that are competitive and I think are going to be more competitive than the Lakers this year. So it's going to be a tough putt for the Lakers. Will they make the playoffs? Probably make the playoffs. However, that doesn't mean that they're going to make noise and go from there. All right, Slee on target. You're being realistic. This is a play-in team until proven otherwise. What they got to do is go trade some of these picks. What they have to do is, you're in a position right now, and I don't know how long they're going to be in this position, but you're in a position right now. LeBron is still really, really good at age. He's going to be 40. How much can you really depend on that long term? Yeah, I worry about that. Anthony Davis played 76 games last year. They're going to need him to play 76 games again this year. And then you're going to need all these other players to obviously perform as well. And some of these additions that they had, and Gabe Vincent and Vando's got to be around. Austin Reeves got to continue to get better. Rui Hachimura, in my opinion, has got to live up to that contract, and I don't think he has. So I think you're looking at a lot of different players that are going to have to be pulling the rope in the same direction with a brand new coach. All right, a couple more of these comments. I'm going to keep going on some of this stuff. Media coverage about the Lakers is different than what the Lakers are doing on the court. I think Lakers are a top 6 seed right now with a competent offensive system and a trade or two from really contending. By the way, I think what's most realistic of everything you just said right here, and a trade or two away from really contending. That's probably what is going to have to be the difference for the Lakers. It's going to have to be something along those lines. There's just I'm going to keep going back to it. The West is tough. What teams did I forget in the Western Conference? Because I know I forgot some teams in the Western Conference. There are some teams in the West that I didn't mention. Oh, OKC I didn't even mention. OKC is going to be the best team in the Western Conference. Oklahoma City Thunder I didn't even mention. I forgot to mention them. And then I think I mentioned all the other teams. Sacramento I didn't mention. That's a team. I don't know where they're going to be, but I know they were 4-0 against the Lakers. I know they got DeMar DeRozan, and we'll see how that trade goes. I think they're kind of swinging here to try to they should have been swinging for Lauri Markkanen. I know they were one of the teams that were involved in that trade, or at least in some of the rumors, but they end up with DeMar DeRozan. So West is going to be a headache. Can I tell you something that sucks about sports and the NBA real quick? So I saw this yesterday. Yeah, a little bit of good news, but at the same time, there's some other stories around the NBA that's unfortunate. I saw this, that Lonzo Ball expected to make his return versus the Minnesota Timberwolves. They got a preseason game at home coming up tomorrow. How crazy is this? Throw the stat to you guys here. Not the stat, but just the reality. It's been over 1,000 days that Lonzo Ball has played in a basketball game. January of 2022 was the last time Lonzo Ball played in a basketball game. And, man, I feel for this guy. I don't care if you're a Lonzo fan or you're not. I was always a fan of Lonzo's game. I was. I remember doing the pregame show with Michael Thompson. And Michael and I both really liked him. But I remember always, mentioning to Michael, anytime Lakers were playing the Bulls, or even when Lonzo Ball was a part of the Lakers, I said, it's not very common that you see a player that is more than willing to pass the ball and play defense in the NBA. He's a point guard that doesn't look for his shot, doesn't care how many points he scores. He wants to play defense, and he wants to dish the rock. That doesn't happen very often. So Lonzo expected to make his return coming up tomorrow. I feel bad for the dude. He's only 26 years old. He's still got, if he's healthy, a lot of years left, but he underwent that. I'm going to read exactly what it says. In 2023, he underwent cartilage transplant surgery. I've never even heard of that before. So this man trying to make his way back in the league. And this is kind of where we are in the NBA right now. You got players. I saw this, and I kind of lumped them all together. Lonzo trying to make his return. Here's the other part of what's unfortunate about sports, what's unfortunate about the NBA. I saw an article, I think it was last night or this morning. Kawhi ruled out for the rest of preseason, uncertain about his season opener. So that dude still continues to have, he's been dealing with that swelling in his knee. Last year missed, I think, the final 8 games of the regular season. Tried to come back for the playoffs. Eventually couldn't play in the postseason in that series against the Dallas Mavericks. At this point in Kawhi's career, I'd almost just be shocked or surprised that you can ever depend on Kawhi Leonard moving forward strictly because of his health. It's not that Kawhi doesn't want to play. I know people want to sit back and say, Kawhi Leonard, this is a guy that is always what's the term that I'm looking for? Always taking time off, and he doesn't play back to backs and all that stuff. The dude's not healthy. I understand Kawhi, the load management was what I was looking for. Yeah, Kawhi Leonard is the definition of load management, but at the same time, this guy hasn't been healthy. This guy's knee, it seems like anytime he comes back for a couple of games, he's got to take a couple games off because his knee starts swelling up again. I saw Paul George yesterday hyperextended his knee. Again, these are just all guys that you associate. When I say Lonzo Ball, Kawhi Leonard, Paul George, Joel Embiid, those are the four players I had written down. There were stories about all of them. Whenever I say anything about all four of those players, it's impossible to have a conversation about any of those four guys without saying, yeah, is that guy injured? Is he healthy? Will that guy be available? Will he not be available? It's the worst part about sports. By far the worst part about sports. You got Kawhi, we're not sure when he's going to come back, if he'll be ready for the regular season. Paul George said he's fine, but he hyperextended his knee. And if you say Paul George and knee, that doesn't sound like that's, good information right there. And then Joel Embiid put out something yesterday, and he said something. I know he's out for the rest of preseason. I'll read you the exact. He said he may never play in back-to-back games again. And that's going to be kind of the plan for him moving forward. He said, if I had to guess, I would probably never play back-to-back the rest of my career. So I get it. And I know there's people out there are going to be a little bit more old school and they say, hey, back in my time or when I used to watch the NBA, this is what this player did. And that guy would always play 82 games. And guys had much injuries, much worse. However you want to describe it, it's fair. That's fine. I know we just don't live 30 years ago. That's not today's NBA. And you got some of these star players. I mean, that's two guys for Philly right out the gate. They just signed Paul George to a 4-year contract. And hopefully he's all good. He said he thinks he's going to be fine. But already injury concerns around the NBA. But happy for Lonzo. Lonzo getting a chance to potentially come back and do his thing. All right, let's see what we got here. OKC, Minnesota, and Dallas. Minnesota, Denver, and Dallas are top 4. Syracuse and Memphis will be better. I think New Orleans will be good too. I think Golden State will always kind of find a way to be in the mix. Let's see what else we got here. LeBron and AD playing over 70 games again. I don't know if you want to take that bet. That's a tough bet. Imagine us saying that last year, that they're each going to play over 70 games. I don't think anybody would have said that. So I think that's I appreciate the optimism. I don't know how realistic it is, but let's see. Let's see what happens. Bron's going to be going into his, obviously age 40, and Anthony Davis. So most amount of games he's played in a long time. Anthony Davis last year. Listen, I'm still excited about the season. I am, to be completely honest with you. I am excited about the season. I think it is going to be fun, but you worry about that as well. I want to kind of switch back here real quick. I want to switch back to the Dodgers here for a quick second. So Dodgers obviously lose game 1. I'm going to share my screen here with you guys here real quick. Actually, let me try to find the right story here. I had it for a quick second there. Clayton Kershaw made an announcement yesterday. I want to read his exact quote. So let me share my screen here real quick with you guys. Actually, you know what? We don't need to share the screen. I'm just going to read you the quote here real quick. I don't think it's a story. I don't know how Dodger fans feel about this. I'm not really sure about the announcing it during the NLCS as well. Maybe it's not a big deal. Here's what Clayton Kershaw had to say. He said, I had some tough luck with my toe this year, but I want to make use of this surgery. I don't want to have a surgery and then shut it down. So I'm going to come back next year and give it a go, see how it goes. My shoulder and elbow, everything, my arm feels great. Clayton Kershaw obviously has only represented one team in his career. It's the Los Angeles Dodgers. I don't think this is a story. I'll tell you why. I just don't think Clayton Kershaw, no matter what happens, and I think it was similar when he came back this past season, no matter what happens, I think there's always going to be something with Clayton Kershaw moving forward. And if he is available, it really just is icing on the cake. And I don't even know if it's icing on the cake. Is Clayton Kershaw going to be taking something away from some of these other players on the Dodgers? What if what if next year now all of a sudden all these players are healthy and you got 5, 6 arms that you can go to come postseason? Do you want Clayton Kershaw to be one of those arms, or do you want it to be one of these young guns who's having success, or one of these other relievers, or whatever the case is? I just think it's really, really, really difficult for the Dodgers to depend on Kershaw for anything. And they're not. They're not depending on him. Clearly, if he was available, they would have used him. But when I say Clayton Kershaw saying he wants to come back next year is a non-story, what I mean by that is I just don't think he's going to hold up by the time he gets to October 1st. I mean, this year is a good example. He didn't pitch the first couple of months of the season. It's not like he was relied upon this year, and he had some good starts. I think there were some times where Clayton Kershaw was good for the Dodgers, but at the same time, what he had appeared in 7 games this year, went 2-2 with a 4.5 ERA. Can you really? I don't really care what Kershaw says. I think the reality is going to be by the time the regular season starts, okay, let's say he's not there. Spring training begins, let's say he's not there. Even he comes back by June, July, or August, aren't you always going to say, well, at some point, Clayton Kershaw, something's going to break down just because of where he is in his career and how many different injuries that he's had? I think that part is more likely than Clayton Kershaw making a return in 2025 and being part of the rotation come playoff time. So the fact that he will come back, the fact that he's saying that his elbow, his arm, all that stuff feels great, I don't really think does anything for me. It's October 15th, 2024. By the time you fast forward 8-9 months from now, even if he's on the mound, the question is just going to be, how long is he going to be on the mound for? Let's see what we got here. And by the way, those that say, oh, you're being disrespectful to Kershaw. Guys, I'm being honest here. Does anybody really, really feel like this guy is going to be there by the time the postseason starts? That's really all I'm saying. And if he is, then it's a surprise that he's back there. Doing the show with, Travis, when him and I were doing the show together, there was never a time when him and I would have a conversation where you felt like, yeah, the Dodgers will depend on Clayton Kershaw. If you're depending on Clayton Kershaw, then something else went wrong with a lot of your other arms. 5th starter, spot starter. Kershaw may have to go to the Smoltz route and go to the pen. Kershaw is Vino. Let Kershaw come back in July. Kind of what they did this year. That's not that much different what he did. These are my favorite. Kershaw will be fine next year. Padres sleep praying for his downfall. Trust me. I'd rather see Kershaw on the mound than some of these other arms. Okay? I'd rather see Kershaw on the mound than Dustin May's ridiculous stuff. And we'll see. I know this guy's been injured for a couple years now. Next year, you're going to basically have Shohei Ohtani on the mound, Tyler Glasnow, Yamamoto, who will be a more comfortable Yamamoto. There's 3 right there. Gavin Stone probably on the mound as well. I don't know about Tony Gonsolin and Dustin May. I don't know what they're going to do in the offseason. They're going to have 39 arms that they can go to. 39 arms that they can go to. The question is going to be, and this is going to be the kind of the weird stuff with the Dodgers that never makes any sense to me, all the injuries that they have with their arms. All the injuries that they have in their arms. And if this happens as well, this is the dude from Japan, Roki Sasaki, I think. This is the young gun that is, how old is he? I just want to look at how old he is. Yeah, he's only 22. Yeah, if he comes to the Dodgers, then I think all of Major League Baseball should strike. We should all march through Dodger Stadium and strike. I think that's what I think that's what it would be. That by the way, 39 arms, then 5 in October. You're not kidding there. They got all these arms, but by the time it comes to the postseason, a lot of these guys are gone. You're 100% right on that. I got a quick story for everybody. If you ever get in a fight, if you're ever about to get in a fight, you got to find me. Okay. By the way, if you're just tuning in right now, thank you for being a part of the show. Whether you're tuning in live or you're tuning in, the recorded version of it after we're done with the live show. Broke down the Mets and the Dodgers. Don't be too concerned if you're a Dodger fan. I think that was just one bad game yesterday and a lot of things that went wrong. Spent a lot of time talking also about the Lakers and some of the pressure that they have on them. They're taking on the Warriors tonight. Hit on some of the injuries in the NBA as well, and Kershaw. Okay, so yesterday, at where I am in Solana Beach, not too far, is a dog park. No, it's a dog beach. And dogs running everywhere. Dogs doing whatever they're doing. So I'm there. Had Rookie with me. So I take Rookie. We're at the dog beach doing whatever. Rookie's scared as hell of water. All right, trying to get him accustomed to water. How can you have a golden retriever that's scared of water? That's Rookie. So all of a sudden I hear two guys start raising their voices. I don't know what's going on. I got two balls with me. I'm just throwing the ball. I'm basically out there. I got an arm like Josh Allen. Think of some of the best arms in the NFL right now, and then think of Sliwa. Okay. So I'm out there. I don't just throw the ball to Rookie. We run routes. Like I get with Rookie prior, and I tell Rook, I'm like, listen, you're going to come up, churn back around. I'm going to pump fake to you. As I pump fake to you, then you flip and come, but kind of start fading towards the left ear. I'm going to hit you in stride. That's how I throw the dog. That's how I throw the ball to my dog. Okay. We run routes. So I'm in the process doing my thing, 1, 2, 3 break. And then we break out of our huddle and Rookie starts his route. I hear two guys just losing it. I don't know what's going on. I can see one guy holding his dog on a leash, and I see the other guy yelling at him. And he said, "Get control of your effing dog, bro." I'm like, what the hell's going on here? So I'm taking a look here. I'm just figuring that these guys are just going to slowly just kind of start departing. They're not departing. They're getting closer and closer. I'm like, are we going to have a throwdown in Del Mar at this dog beach? Which, by the way, if that happened in Del Mar, basically it's the biggest story Del Mar will have had in the past 24 years if it goes down at the dog beach. So I'm sitting there and I'm like, all right, I'm going to let this thing kind of break itself up here. They're just going to eventually break off and nothing else. Well, just when you start thinking that this is getting quieter and quieter and it's getting more and more peaceful, the guy that didn't have his dog's roaming around, doesn't have no idea what's going on, decides at the end to throw one more F-bomb at this guy, who, by the way, is with his wife, throws the F-bomb and basically says, "Get control of your effing dog, man." And now that guy is starting to lose it. So his wife starts holding him back. Dog has no idea what's going on. I'm just kind of standing there. I'm like, am I going to have to go break up a fight at the dog beach in Del Mar? Is this really what's happening on a Monday? Is this a real story that I'm going to have to go there? The reason why I want to explain this to you guys, first off, let's go ahead and not throw down at a dog beach or a dog park. Everything's going to be fine. The dogs are going to be fine. That's number one. Number two, why do I feel like I find myself in these positions? I feel like over the last couple of years, I've been like hey guys, why don't we all calm down here? Let's go our separate ways. Now, I didn't have to really get in the middle of this, but it got pretty close. And then I thought to myself, I'm like, what if that dog thinks that I came out of nowhere and I'm a threat and that dog came after me? I almost risked my life yesterday. That's basically what I want to tell you guys. Well, I want to tell you guys I was running routes, completely running routes yesterday with Rookie. And then at the same time, I risked my life yesterday to make sure that everyone at the dog beach in Del Mar can go their separate ways and be safe. That is all I have for everybody here today. I appreciate everybody hanging out here. Again, I'm going to say it one more time. I run routes with my dog. I pump fake. And Rookie he's a good route runner. He's a very, very good route runner. I appreciate you guys hanging out today. Thank you for looking. These are the comments that I need here. Thank you for your service. That's all I'm asking for. I don't know what you get for the purple heart. Yeah, I'm not even going to get into that because we're not going to get into that. But I'm just saying it's a good citizen that was looking out for everybody in this area. That's all I got today. I appreciate you guys hanging out. Hit on some great topics here. Tomorrow we'll come back. I'm working on. I got a confirmation for everybody. Let me see here. We'll do this live here. Working on John Hartung, who does the pregame show for Spectrum Sportsnet. with the Dodgers broadcast. He's going to join me, probably just audio, but he's going to join me for the show tomorrow, and we're going to break down Game 3 of the Dodgers and the Mets. So I had texted John, really, really good dude. If you ever watch Spectrum Sportsnet, the Dodger channel, he's on there driving the show, every single show, pre and post, and he's going to join me for the podcast tomorrow. I'm really looking forward to that, and we'll break down the game. So thank you for being here. I appreciate you guys hanging out, and I'll get back with you guys tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Thanks, guys. Have a great rest of your day.